In the last video, I showed you how to make the toe pads for the squashed frog door stopper. In this video, I'll show you how to make the legs. If you haven't already made your toe pads, please go back to the last video and watch how to make your own toe pads. There's a link for both the right and left-handed versions. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the legs. I'll show you how to make a front leg, but the only difference between a front and back leg is that the back legs are 2 double crochet stitches longer than the front legs. Otherwise, they're exactly the same. We'll be using the foundation double crochet stitch style, but you don't have to do foundation double crochet stitches if you don't like them. You can just do a chain and crochet back with double crochet stitches if you don't like foundation double crochets. You can make just the back legs now if you want to, or you can make all 4 now. We'll need the back legs in the next step when we make the body and crochet the legs in as we go, and we'll need the front legs when we're making the head and the neck part. To make the front and back legs, we need to make foundation double crochet stitches. Foundation double crochet stitches are basically making the chain as you go. So instead of making a chain and crocheting back to do your double crochet stitches, we're going to make the chain as we go. The nice part about this stitch is that both the top and the bottom look the same. It's a very nice, neat way to do a stitch, but if you prefer, you can just do a chain and double crochet back. Well, actually it'll be a chain and double crochet back, and then attach the legs on the other end. So I'll show you how to do that now. To make a foundation double crochet stitch, make a slip knot to start with, and then we're going to chain 3. So we'll just do 1, 2, 3 chain, and then we'll start the same as you would for a double crochet stitch. So yarn over, and we're going to go through what was the slip knot. So when I do that, I like to have 2 pieces of yarn at the top and 1 piece at the bottom from that loop. Yarn over and pull through a loose loop, then yarn over and pull through 1 loop. We have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So what you've done here is you've made the chain and the stitch at the same time. To make the second loop, you need to go through both the front and back pieces of yarn from the bottom of the previous stitch. So yarn over and go through the front part and the back part. It's harder on the first stitch here, everything else is much easier. It's just twisted a funny way when you start with that first one. So I have the 2 loops on my hook for the double crochet stitch, and I'm underneath both the front and back parts of the previous stitch. So now yarn over and pull through a loose loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through a loop, just 1. You still have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So there's your second double crochet stitch. So again, yarn over, and now it's easier. Go through both the front and back parts of that previous stitch, the base of the previous stitch, then yarn over and pull through a loop. Make sure you keep it loose. This is what would be normally our chain row, and again, if you make your chains really tight and crochet back, you find it bends. The same will happen here if you keep that first loop tight. So make sure you keep that first loop loose. Yarn over and pull through just 1 loop. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. I hope you can get the idea now. So we've got 1, 2, 3 loops there. You can see them nice and neatly at the top, and you can see the same on the bottom. We have 1, 2, 3 loops there. So again, yarn over, go through both the front and back parts of the previous stitch, the base of the previous stitch. Yarn over and pull through a loose loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through only the bottom loop. You still have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through the other 2 loops. And there you have your next double crochet stitch. So you need to have 16 for the front legs and 18 for the back legs. So keep going, and remember each time to go through both the front and back parts of the base of the previous loop. Yarn over and pull through a loose loop, yarn over and pull through just one loop, and then it's the same as a double crochet. Pull through 2, pull through 2. So just like that. So I'll keep going and do 16 because I'm doing a front leg here, and I'll meet you at the other end of the leg so that I can show you how to put the toes on. I've just finished my 16 foundation double crochet stitches for the front leg. There's the top and there's the bottom. It looks nice and neat there. And we're going to start attaching the toes directly from that point. You don't need to end off, we'll just start attaching the toes directly from that point. If you're doing all your toes in the same colour, or if you're having random coloured toes, you don't need to worry about this part. But if you're doing only one colour for a thumb for your frog's legs, you need to make sure they're on the opposite sides. So my toes tend to twist, so this is the top side of my foundation double crochet stitches, and when I put the toe on there it tends to twist. I actually like that, so I haven't tried to learn to make it not twisted, but all I need to know now is I put the mandarin colour in the last toe for this leg, so I need to put it on for the first toe for the next leg so that they'll be on opposite sides. Make sure your magic ring is facing up the right way. This is the side that was facing me when I crocheted it, and this is the underside. So I'm going to start crocheting close to where the yarn tails are, and I'll trap one of those yarn tails in as I crochet this way, and when we get to the middle we'll trap the other one coming the other way. So start with 4 chain at the end of your foundation double crochet stitches. Just do 4 chain straight out from where you finished off. So there's 4 chain. And now I'm going to start crocheting into this magic ring as well. So here's where the joins are. I'm going to go into this space here, behind both the front and back parts of that stitch. It might be a little tight. Sometimes it's easier to roll into the stitches like this. And I'm going to trap that yarn tail as well. So there's yarn tails in the way everywhere right here. Okay, so here's the 4 chain here. Here's the first stitch in the magic ring, and we're just going to do a single crochet and then a chain. So here's the single crochet. Oh, I went through the loop as well. Don't do that. Make sure you're doing a single crochet at the end there. And then do a chain. And then we'll go into the next space. And make sure you trap that yarn tail. Do a single crochet and a chain, then into the next space. Make sure you're trapping that yarn tail, do a single crochet and a chain, then go into the next space, trap your yarn tail, and you could get the yarn tail from the other side and loop it back this other way, so you've got them coming around in opposite directions. So one's coming around this way and the other one's coming around that way, and they're crossing over at this stitch. So I'll cross them over for 2 stitches. So we'll do a single crochet here, and then a chain, and then into the next space around the magic ring. Make sure you're trapping both of the yarn tails there. Do a single crochet stitch, then do a chain. Now we don't need to do this one anymore, but you do need to make sure the other one's getting trapped into the yarn, into the stitches, so the one that's coming this direction. So go into the next space, then do a single crochet stitch and a chain, then into the next space, and remember to make sure that yarn tail's still getting trapped. If you're not careful, instead of going around here, it'll come straight across. So make sure that's coming around inside your stitches, and do a single crochet stitch, then do a chain, and here's the last one. Into this space, do a single crochet stitch here. This one's a little tight because it's near the knot, so I'm going to roll into it like that. And I also need to make sure that that yarn tail's getting into that stitch as well. So I'll just push that across there, so there it is. And we'll do a single crochet stitch. Like that. So that's going around your toe like that. And now we're going to crochet down the chain and back to the foot. When I crochet into the chains, I like again to have 2 pieces of yarn on the top side and 1 on the bottom. So I'm going to push through into that last chain there. So get that part of the chain, 2 pieces on top and 1 piece underneath here like this. And do a single crochet stitch. Then into the next space across here. Sometimes it's easier to pick up this stitch before, the one that you went into from the other side. Can you see what I'm doing? So I'm using the front part of the hook to lift that up and then slide across into the next space. Sometimes it's easier to do that than to try and just poke into that space. Sometimes it doesn't make any difference, but sometimes it does make it easier, and I like to do that. So I'm just sliding across into the next space and then doing a single crochet there. So I have 2 now. You can see that gapes quite a lot, so it's very easy to hook up under that and then slide into the next one across. Do another single crochet, so that's 3 single crochets there, and we have 1 more to do. So I'm going to slide up under that one and slide across to this one. Like I said, you can slide up and across like I do, or you can just slide into that stitch. You can see we've just used this one, so you need to use this one here. You can just slide into that one if you like, or if it's a bit tight, you can lift this one up and slide into there. So do it whichever way you like, whichever works for you. So we have our 4 stitches now back down to the leg. We need to fit the toes evenly across the top of this last stitch of the foundation double crochet leg, so we need to be careful about spacing them evenly. Put your hook through the front loop of the top of the last stitch and a loop of yarn behind it towards the middle top of the stitch, like this. And do a single crochet, like this. That's moved it across just a little bit, so I'll have 1 coming out of here, 1 coming out of the center and 1 coming out of the edge there. So that way you're spacing them evenly across the top. So again, we'll do 4 chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll get the next magic ring. Remember to make sure you've got the top facing up, not the bottom. And if you find your stitches are a little tight where you did the knot, you can get a needle and just loosen the first stitches if they're tight. You can just loosen it a little, and that can help you get started. So I'm going to go through that stitch there. Remember to go behind both the front and back parts of that loop. There's the front part and the back part, and I'm going to trap that yarn tail. Do a single crochet, then do a chain. Just do the same as we did for the other toe. Do a single crochet stitch and a chain, then a single crochet stitch into the next space, trap the yarn tail, do a single crochet and a chain, and remember to cross over your yarn tails in the top 2 stitches to keep them secure. So single crochet in this one, and I'm crossing over the 2 yarn tails there. Then do a chain and a single crochet in the next space with them crossed over again, and a chain. Then you don't need to worry about this one anymore. This one's loose, and I did that on purpose so I can show you what to do if they're loose. So do your single crochet into the next space and a chain and a single crochet in the next space. Remember to keep trapping that yarn tail, and a chain and here's the last space. Mine's a little tight. As I said, you can use a needle to loosen it up there. There's my spaces, and I also need to get that yarn tail. So there's what I need. Poke through there, then do a single crochet, and then we'll go down the rest of the leg as before. So that was, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to go into this space here first, do a single crochet stitch, single crochet into the next one, and as I said, I like to slide up into it. It just makes it easier for me. You can do it however you like, of course. That's 2. Here's 3 and 4. And then you need to go across a space. So I'm going to pick up this piece of yarn here in the center and another piece above it and crochet into there. Now I said I'd show you what I do if there's loose ends here. That one of those was loose, so I just tighten them up like this at the end, and then you can snip off the yarn tails like this. Just snip them off close. Be careful not to cut your stitches. Well, my scissors are getting blunt. So just make sure you're not cutting the stitches. And those stitches should hold those yarn tails in place so you don't have to sew them in at the end. So I'll just keep going across the rest of the foot and show you how to end. The way to attach the toes is all the same. I'll speed through toe number 3, then show you where to put the next stitch in the foundation double crochet strip. For the last leg, it's better not to use the bottom of the foundation double crochet stitch or your toe will stick out a little. Instead, start the toe by using the same space we used for the third toe and make the toe the same as we have for the last 3. I'm just speeding through that part here. Then end off in the last space of the foundation double crochet so it will be nice and flush with the edge. So when you get to the end of your 4 toes, go into the base of that last foundation double crochet stitch, the same as we did when we were making the foundation double crochet stitches, so behind both the front and back parts of the base of that last loop. Then we'll do a slip stitch like this. When you snip off a yarn tail, snip off a little bit longer. We're going to use this long yarn tail to sew this little gap closed. So this is the second last foundation double crochet stitch, and here's the last one that we've just crocheted into, and that does leave a little gap there. So we're going to use this yarn tail to end off and then come back and sew this closed so that it'll look like this. So we're going to end off. I'll go into the next space, back into the space we were using and the stitch below. So there, it's ended off nice and neatly. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to cut off these yarn tails so they don't get in the way. Pull them nice and firmly, and then snip off each yarn tail and make sure you don't cut any of your stitches. Now I've already done the invisible end here, and I'm going to sew into the stitches here and pull them up. There's no particular way to do it. I'm just going to sew in underneath some of the stitches like this, and I'll sew through here and up through there so that I'm pulling the stitches together like this. So this is from down in the next foundation double crochet stitch and up into the stitches we used to make the little fingers, toes. So up there, I'll go around some. I don't have a particularly good sewing technique, but all I'm trying to do is to close this gap here. So I'll just pull them nice and tight and pull them in together. So I've just gone around here, and I'm going to go in under some stitches over here too, and through these stitches here, just to pull them in nice and close to create a little hand like this. See how that's already closed? With a few more stitches just around there, it'll close that up nicely. So you can see the hands closed nicely there. There's no gaps. So I've split my piece of yarn into two pieces. I've sewn around one way and sewn around the other way. Then I'll just tie it off here and then sew in the ends. You can do yours however you like. I'm sure your technique is probably better than mine. So I'll just tie it off here. My tying off usually is quite overkill, but I do have lots of little people touching the things I make, and I don't want them to fall to pieces or come undone. So now I'll just sew in the ends and it will be finished. So I go in the direction that the yarn is coming from the knot. Now I'll just snip off the yarn tails and it'll be finished. So now I have two little arms and two little legs ready for my frog. In the next video, I'll show you how to make the body and how to crochet the legs in as we go. Click on the links to find the videos for right and left-handed.